Jon Snow wasn't followed because he was powerful. He was followed because he chose what was right, even when it destroyed him. Today, I'm breaking down 10 lessons I learned from Jon Snow, and if you stay until the end, you'll understand why real leadership is always lonely. Lesson 1. Leadership starts with responsibility, not status. Jon Snow never becomes a leader because he demands authority or believes he deserves it. Leadership falls on him because when difficult moments arrive, he doesn't look away. While others hesitate, argue, or protect their own position, Jon steps forward and accepts responsibility for outcomes he cannot fully control. That's what separates real leaders from people who simply hold titles. In real life, leadership doesn't begin when someone gives you permission. It begins when you stop asking who's in charge and start asking what needs to be done. The moment you consistently take responsibility for problems instead of avoiding them, people begin to trust you, follow you, and rely on you, even if you never asked for that role. Lesson 2. Doing the right thing will cost you. Jon Snow's entire story is built around one painful truth. Choosing what's right almost always comes with a price. Every time he follows his values instead of politics, popularity, or fear, he loses something meaningful: respect, safety, comfort, or even his life. This is why most people abandon their principles under pressure, because values are easy to defend when they're convenient, but incredibly difficult when they threaten your survival or status. Jon Snow teaches that integrity isn't about being admired, it's about being willing to stand alone when everyone else chooses the easier path, knowing that the cost of betraying your values is always higher than the cost of defending them. Lesson 3. Respect is earned through consistency. Jon Snow doesn't inspire loyalty through speeches, intimidation, or charisma. He earns respect by being the same person every single day, regardless of the situation. Whether he's surrounded by allies or enemies, whether he's winning or losing, his behavior doesn't shift to please the moment. People may disagree with him, but they know exactly where he stands, and that consistency creates trust over time. In real life, people don't trust perfection or confidence, they trust predictability of character, because knowing how someone will act under pressure is far more valuable than hearing promises when things are calm. Lesson 4. Leaders make decisions with incomplete information. Jon Snow rarely has all the facts, perfect intelligence, or guaranteed outcomes, yet he still acts, because waiting for certainty in dangerous situations often leads to disaster. Many people confuse leadership with knowing everything, but leadership is really about deciding despite uncertainty and accepting responsibility for the consequences. Jon Snow teaches that hesitation feels safe in the moment, but it slowly destroys momentum, trust, and lives. In real life, progress belongs to those who can move forward with imperfect information, adjust quickly, and own their decisions instead of hiding behind excuses. Lesson 5. You can't lead everyone, and that's okay. No matter how fair, honest, or transparent Jon Snow tries to be, there are always people who resent him, oppose him, or betray him, and this is one of the hardest lessons for anyone who wants to lead with integrity. Leadership automatically creates resistance, because decisions always benefit some and threaten others. Jon Snow shows that trying to be liked by everyone weakens your judgment and makes you vulnerable to manipulation. In real life, the moment your decisions are driven by approval instead of principle, you stop leading and start negotiating your values away piece by piece. Lesson 6. Strength without compassion creates fear. Jon Snow is capable of violence and authority, but he never lets strength erase his empathy, and that balance is what makes people willing to follow him voluntarily. He understands that fear can control people temporarily, but it collapses the moment power is challenged, while respect survives chaos. Many leaders fail because they rely on dominance instead of connection, confusing obedience with loyalty. Jon Snow teaches that true strength isn't about crushing others, it's about protecting them without losing your humanity, because leadership without compassion eventually turns into tyranny. Lesson 7. Real leaders listen, even when they disagree. Jon Snow listens to people below him, beside him, and even against him, not because he lacks confidence, but because he understands that leadership isn't about being right all the time. Ego blinds leaders, while listening sharpens them. He absorbs information, considers perspectives, and then makes his decision without needing everyone's approval. In real life, leaders who stop listening slowly lose touch with reality, while those who remain open-minded adapt faster, make better decisions, and avoid fatal blind spots created by arrogance. Lesson 8. Sacrifice is part of the job. Leadership takes something from you, and Jon Snow loses more than most because he repeatedly chooses the collective over himself. He sacrifices comfort, love, reputation, and safety to protect people who may never thank him. This lesson is uncomfortable, but necessary. If you want leadership without sacrifice, what you really want is control without responsibility. Jon Snow shows that the weight of leadership is heavy precisely because it demands personal loss, and anyone unwilling to pay that price will eventually abandon others when things get hard. Lesson 9. Honor doesn't guarantee survival. Jon Snow's journey breaks the comforting idea that doing the right thing guarantees safety or success. Again and again, his honor puts him in danger instead of protecting him, showing that the world doesn't consistently reward morality, it rewards power and self-interest. This lesson matters because many people abandon their values after facing loss, believing they were naive, when the real mistake was expecting protection instead of meaning. Jon Snow teaches that honor won't save you, but it will preserve something more important: self-respect. Surviving while betraying who you are may keep you alive, but it leaves you empty inside. Lesson 10. True leadership is lonely. As Jon Snow rises into leadership, his world becomes smaller, not larger, because responsibility isolates you. Leaders must make hard decisions without full support, knowing that praise fades quickly while blame lasts. Jon Snow shows that leadership means standing alone with choices others aren't willing to make, accepting misunderstanding and silence as part of the role. If you need validation, leadership will break you, but if you're grounded in values, you can carry the weight of being alone and still move forward. Jon Snow isn't remembered because he won every battle. He's remembered because he stayed true when it would have been easier to break. His story proves that leadership isn't about being followed when it's safe, but standing firm when it's not. If you want real strength, build values that survive pressure, because in the end, the hardest battles aren't fought with swords, they're fought inside your own mind. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more videos like 10 Lessons I Learned From.